Hi, this is Nikki Woods, and welcome to another edition of Mama's Gone Wild.
I'm Mary Boyce.
And today we are going to talk meatless masterpieces.
And
right?
we're both meatless. In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. We'll say that. But we are talking to, not only is he a chef, he is the founder of IEatgrass.com.
Correct, yes.
Oh, I eat grass.
Yeah.
So cute.
Ayinde,
Yeah.
good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, ladies?
We
Fine,
are
thank
well. We are well.
Awesome.
So I think the thing that was most curious to me about you was the meatless one-man show.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about that, and then I want to talk how your journey, your meatless journey, and then some things that you're doing now. But what is a meatless one-man show?
And it's comedy too. Isn't there some comedy in it?
There's some comedy in it as well.
Okay.
There's some comedy, there's some drama, there's cooking. So it's called My Meatless Life. So, I grew up in the 90s, sort of take on that old MTV show. But My Meatless Life it starts 30 minutes before I was born. I play multiple characters, including both of my parents and my grandfather. And I talk about, I say we, because I have a lot of personalities up here. But I talk about growing up in, the mid 80s and the 90s and coming through like all of the sort of transitional era of that shaped where we are today and how back then being vegan or vegetarian, it was just called back then, was very much weird. And I was very much the weird kid in my sisters, and also it's about love and community and redemption and and how food always sort of played a part. Now the way that I set the show up, I actually cook during the show, so the idea is so the audience feels like they're in the kitchen with me. I don't know about you guys, but I think a lot of people, it's true for a lot of people, that like a lot of the most important moments in your life happen in the kitchen, especially growing up, in your parents' house or whatever. Like the kitchen is the central place in the home. It's the place where everything happens. At nighttime, it's where the grown folks party, and you can't come downstairs and all that. And so I always had these memories of conversations that I've had in the kitchen and whatnot. And so the show is a collection of a lot of memories and stuff. I'm the youngest in my family, so my sisters will tell me that I made that up. I didn't really remember that, but whatever. So I'm also an actor, so I can add a little yeast to it to make it make what it needs to be.
So I think probably the most pressing question is, once you cook all of this, do people actually get to eat it?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good, because I'd be mad if I was in the audience.
Yeah, no, people get to eat the food. Yeah, no, I wouldn't tease them like that.
Okay, good.
So I do, as of now, the show, I just did the show in Austin, and I'm still in what I'm calling a workshopping phase of the show. In 2014, I'm looking to mount it as a serious run, but I'm still discovering things. But people get to eat. We get to talk a little bit. It's an interactive show. There is comedy in it. There's a lot of the idea. So you leave, and there's even music in it. I have a past career as a rapper. I know a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them that, but
No.
MC
yeah.
Vegan.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what'd you say?
MC Vegan.
MC Vegan. 1 2 what? But yeah, I do some acapella, like an acapella song in there, and it's a really well-rounded show. It's a well-rounded show. So
are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Come on.
Are you trying to in the show? Are you trying to convince people to become vegetarian or vegans, or is it just sort of highlighting your life and what it means to you?
It's never been my platform to try to convince people. Well, actually, I take that back. I had one girlfriend I tried to convince, and that went horribly wrong. But so I never really try to convince people to go vegan. The more, mostly what I try to do is cook good food and let people eat, and then tell my story. And if people have questions, I of course can answer them. But I'm grown. Like, I'm 35 years old, and I've been vegan all my life. And so people will say, "Oh, well, I hear tofu will give you man boobs," or I hear, being vegan will make you this or that. And I'm like, look, I'm fine. Look at me. Look at it's happening.
Oh, you don't have to show off. I mean,
No, but that's not really. It's not a platform for transforming people. Like, even in our gift bags we gave away, we don't give away like DVDs of crazy stuff, because I think there's enough people doing that in the world. I don't really need to do that. And besides, I'm not approaching it from like I just started doing this and I'm
it's just
really super excited to get everybody all on board. It's like, I've done this all my life, and if you want to learn how to live this way, like, here's some things that I've done. And of course, you keep asking questions, or and IEatgrass.com is a really big information source for that. With my sorry, my chair just squeaked through.
That's what happens when
I thought it was an alarm. I was about to be like, peace.
Right. So I have a lot of questions, and I doubt I'll be able to get them all in. But I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that people probably have, because they equate being vegan with some kind of political movement as well, and they're like, it's the whole PETA thing. And so, is there a separation for you and most of the people or do you see it the same way?
I mean, in my community, there are a lot of militant vegans, if you will. But there is a separation. I think that there's a lot of people who are either curious about being vegan, and I think it breaks down to a couple of different categories. One, I call it being sentenced to veganism, where I've dealt with a lot of clients who like go to the doctor and they're like, okay, look, you can't eat meat anymore, you're going to die. And so they come, so they have to find out how to really change their life. And it's not about waving a flag, and it's not about going to a meeting. It's about, how am I going to take care of myself and my children, and so on and so forth. And I think that's really the deeper meaning, because that's where my parents sort of came at it. That's the direction they came at it from. Was like, we want to live better, we want to be healthier, we want to live a more holistic lifestyle. But there are multiple camps within the umbrella of being vegan, and I'm friendly with all of them, and I think that here again, it's like the people who are interested for reasons other than being loud and active, or it's usually for their own personal health and longevity, which ultimately I think is what inspires people to do anything. Somebody's going to care about their kid a lot more than they're going to care about a rabbit on a farm somewhere that they've never met before, or in a factory, like that. And not saying that there's nothing wrong with, the practices of, in the industrial meat industry. It has its own thing, but I personally think the way to get to people and elevate their consciousness around the food intake and the processed food and the non-organic food and the GMO and all the chemicals that we take in is you draw a direct line. This is your health. This is where it's coming from. You are what you eat. You can't escape that.
Right.
Since you said you were sort of born into this, did you ever want to rebel against it at all? Did you ever? I mean, have you ever been curious about?
No, I never. I mean, I rebelled in a lot of ways, but I never wanted to like go get a burger or anything like that. And partly because the food my parents made was always really good. I also come from a family of people who cooked. Both of my grandfathers, cooked. Both of my parents. So I never really wanted to.
And now you are not only, a chef, but you're also a personal chef for Ayinde, Arie, and you're on tour and that sort of thing. So where did the whole cooking aspect, is it because that's what your family does, so you just transitioned into it, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I grew up in the family business, which was vegan food, and early on, I also had sort of an entrepreneurial spirit. Early on, I figured I wanted to get into the restaurant business, and I opened a cafe in Seattle. And during that time, I then discovered that I discovered like spoken word and performing and stuff, and so I ran the cafe for about 5 years, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go be an actor. And so I went and did that, and did that for about 3 years, and then the economy tanked, and then I went back into the kitchen as an executive chef when I lived in New York for about 8 years. So I've sort of dipped in and out. But today, like I tell people, like I guess I'm kind of a professional vegan because I'm like I am a vegan. I'm a vegan chef. I have a vegan blog. Like everything about me is vegan. I guess I don't really see it that way. It's just like what I am. Yeah.
So what do you think? And we can always go to. Tell me the website again. What's the website again?
I eat grass.
I eat grass.
IEatgrass.com.
Thank you. IEatgrass.com. No, that's okay. So we were going to ask for recipes, but I'm assuming we can find some there as well.
Tons of recipes.
Lots of recipes.
Cool.
But what do you think is the most important ingredient? If you had to pick one that you just could not do without as a vegan chef, what would it be? Oh, it was a good question.
That's a great question. That's a great question. For me, it would actually be tofu. That's like sort of I can base a lot of meals around that, and I can do a lot of stuff with it. It has sort of a bad reputation, but I can work wonders with it. And I think if I have that, I can always build out a meal and get some, get my client or my customer or myself satisfied with it.
I do.
Do you get frustrated with people who just say I can't eat this, I can't eat that because they're just not used to it?
I do get frustrated with people.
What are you looking at?
I get frustrated with people who won't try it.
Yeah.
Who are like, no. And it's like it's a vegetable. Like it's not gonna hurt you.
Right.
No one's ever died of a tofu or quinoa or kale. So I get frustrated when people who have like this sort of traditional American diet and they're like, no, I don't even want to broaden my horizons and try it.
Right.
Because I think that's an old attitude. I think that's an outdated attitude.
Right.
I mean, it's something that you have to look forward. You look all around in the food industry. There are people who are, making more responsible choices around even how they raise meat, or how they, or how the sort of veil has been pulled back on this food industry, and so the public you can either choose to see it or you can choose to not see it.
Right.
And to choose to not see it to me just seems counter-revolutionary.
All right. The website is IEatgrass.com.
Yes.
All right. His name is Ayinde, and we
My name is
appreciate
Ayinde Howell. I am currently have to go upstairs and make something for India Arie.
All right.
What are you gonna make?
She usually starts her morning off with tea, and then I get a full meal in the afternoon. I have her. It's a whole different thing. I have her on an eating schedule because we have to keep the shape right and all that good stuff. So, and this afternoon, I'm not sure. I have to go shopping today. We just got to Baltimore, so I'm gonna go shopping and see what we got. And we have a day off, so it'll probably be a bigger meal, something nice and warm.
Oh.
Okay. We should have gotten a Thanksgiving recipe.
We'll do that next holiday.
Come back.
I'll be back. I'll be back. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. And we thank you for joining us for another edition of Mama's Gone Wild. I'm Nikki Woods.
I'm Mary Boyce. Stay wild.